Let's talk about chemical preservatives. They are the largest group of food additives, and almost every time they are used in literally every commercial products because we have to increase the shelf life of food, and that is why the addition of chemical preservatives is very common. So the way these chemical preservative would increase the shelf life of food is predominantly suppressing the growth of microorganisms. There could also be some preservatives that retard the chemical deterioration of food as well, but predominantly, as I said, these chemical preservatives would retard the growth of microorganisms and hence improve the shelf life of food. Normally, they are used in a very small amounts, for example, up to 0.1% or maybe less than that in the final product for having this preservative effect on the food products. So I'll take some of the examples here, although as I said, this is a very large group of food additives, but some of the commonly used additives we will discuss here. Sodium acetate, for example, and sodium or calcium propionate, they are most commonly used in breads. So most of your breads would have these ingredients, and the purpose of using these ingredients is to curb the growth of mold and development of bacterial growth within these products. And those bacterial uh, growth normally produce slime formation in bread. That is a serious challenge in the bread industry. So that is why these additives are almost every time they are used in the bread manufacturing. Similarly, there's another preservative, sorbic acid, or its salt, whether they're calcium or sodium salt. They are used in bakery products. They can be used in a lot of other products, for example, cheese or syrups or pie filling. The purpose of using this additive again is to suppress the growth of mold. For example, the kind of food product that I mentioned here, they have got major problem of fungal decomposition. So that is why we add these additives that have got potential to suppress the growth of mold in these products. Another commonly used gaseous product or food additive is called sulfur dioxide. It is used in especially in dehydrated fruits or dried fruits. Especially in Pakistan, we do sun dry a lot of fruits, and during this process, the sulfur dioxide is used. It got two applications. It would suppress the growth of yeast, and it would also be helpful to bleach the color of end product. So it gives two benefit. It would be bleaching the color, so you won't have a very dark colored dried fruit, and it would be suppressing the growth of yeast. And if you don't suppress the growth of yeast, they would produce vinegar and other undesirable products in that food. Benzoic acid is one of the very commonly used additive. In fact, benzoic acid itself is not used, rather we use sodium benzoate. And the sodium benzoate, when there is an acidic condition, this would release benzoic acid. So benzoic acid itself is basically a preservative, but the salt of benzoic acid, which is sodium benzoate, this is added into food. Of mold and bacteria, and especially for fruit juices or margarines, pickles, and condiments. As I said, they have got slightly acidic pH. So in these food, normally benzoic acid it plays its role as a preservative. It is also present naturally in many food products. For example, cranberries are an example where benzoic acid is naturally present in these berries. Another very commonly used household food preservative is salt. This is an excellent inhibitor of growth of many microorganisms because it would be suppressing the water activity. As I said, it makes water unavailable for the growth of microorganisms. So it is specially added in food products which are smoked or dried products. So you would see that most of the dried meat or other product which are smoked, they would also add sodium chloride or common salt, so that it also exerts its preservative action on these food products. And these chloride ions, they also inhibit the growth of many microorganisms. So this was the mechanism of preservation of common salt. Another very commonly used additive is sodium nitrite. It inhibits the microbial growth in meat products. It improves the color of meat products as well. And The incidence of botulinum, as I said, that Clostridium botulinum is a serious pathogen. This can be inhibited if you can add sodium nitrite into the food products. But this is not recommended to be used in fresh food products because when we cook these products having sodium nitrite in it, this sodium nitrite, it is converted into nitrosamines, and this is very much carcinogenic compound. And this is normally found in many of the barbecue meats, especially when they have been added sodium nitrite. So higher temperature would convert this sodium nitrite into nitrosamines, which are carcinogenic, and they must be really avoided in food products. Another example of chemical preservative is we use certain oxidizing agents as well. Although these oxidizing agents cannot be directly added into the food, but they can be used as used to sanitize equipment, walls or floors of an area where we have to process food. But these residues are a serious concerns. If these residues can get into food, then they are very serious. The examples of these oxidizing agents commonly used are chlorine. As you can see that chlorine is also used in domestic water as well, especially municipal water, to make it disinfected. And iodine is also used. This is one of the disinfectant as well. Hydrogen peroxide as a gas, it is used to destroy the natural flora of milk before we inoculate the milk with culture. And similarly, they can be used in premises in which food has to be processed in the later stage. So we can use, for example, hydrogen peroxide. So these vapors would be sanitizing the environment in which food has to be processed. So this was a little about different groups of chemical preservatives, their mechanism of actions, and the type of food in which we use these chemical preservatives for increasing the shelf life of those food products.